Unlocking the psychology of relative deprivation. Understanding the basics. Relative deprivation is a psychological concept that delves into the impact of perceived inequality on an individual's well-being. This phenomenon arises when individuals feel that they are unfairly deprived of resources, opportunities, or status compared to others in their reference group. To unravel the intricacies of this psychological phenomenon, we'll explore its basic principles and implications, supported by real-life examples. Understanding relative deprivation. At its core, relative deprivation is not solely about absolute wealth or status, rather, it focuses on the relative differences between oneself and others. This concept is rooted in social comparison theory, where individuals assess their own worth and abilities by comparing themselves to others. When people perceive an unfavorable comparison, feelings of relative deprivation may emerge. Example 1. Economic inequality. Consider two colleagues working in the same company, performing similar tasks. If one receives a significant salary increase while the other's salary remains stagnant, the latter might experience relative deprivation. Despite having a decent income, the individual feels deprived in comparison to the colleague who received the raise. Example 2. Educational opportunities. Imagine two friends with similar academic capabilities. If one of them secures a scholarship for higher education while the other does not, the latter might feel a sense of relative deprivation. The comparison shifts from the absolute opportunity for education to the relative disparity in the access to educational resources. Mechanisms of relative deprivation. Several psychological mechanisms contribute to the experience of relative deprivation. Social identity theory suggests that individuals categorize themselves and others into social groups, and when their group is perceived as disadvantaged, feelings of relative deprivation intensify. Example 3. Social identity and sports teams. Fans of sports teams often experience relative deprivation when their team consistently performs poorly compared to rival teams. This psychological phenomenon can lead to frustration, as fans identify strongly with their team and feel deprived when success is not achieved relative to other teams. Coping strategies. Individuals employ various coping strategies to manage the emotional impact of relative deprivation. Social mobility, the belief in the possibility of upward social movement, is one such strategy. If individuals believe they can improve their circumstances through effort and perseverance, the negative effects of relative deprivation may be mitigated. Example 4. Social mobility in the workplace. An employee who perceives relative deprivation due to a colleague's promotion might focus on enhancing their skills, believing that their efforts can lead to career advancement. This positive outlook can counteract the negative psychological effects of feeling deprived in a professional context. Social and political implications. The psychology of relative deprivation extends beyond individual experiences, influencing societal dynamics and political landscapes. Prolonged and widespread feelings of relative deprivation can contribute to social unrest, as seen in various historical and contemporary contexts. Example 5. Social unrest and economic disparities. In societies marked by significant economic inequalities, a large portion of the population may experience relative deprivation. This can fuel social movements, protests, and demands for systemic change as individuals seek to address perceived injustices and bridge the gap between the privileged and the deprived. Conclusion. The psychology of relative deprivation sheds light on the complex interplay between individual perceptions, social comparisons, and well-being. By understanding the basics of this phenomenon and its real-world manifestations, we gain valuable insights into the factors shaping human behavior, societal dynamics, and the potential for positive change. Recognizing and addressing relative deprivation is crucial for fostering a more equitable and harmonious coexistence in our diverse and interconnected world.